Sex before marriage is very dangerous. It doesn't mean that if you don't have sex before marriage, your marriage will be very successful, but it helps. Because when you are dating and sex is not involved, you have the opportunity to get to know each other better. You talk about deeper things because marriage is bigger than sex. Sex is part of marriage, but marriage is bigger than sex. And somebody will say, Sister Akosua, if I don't try it, how will I know that the person that I want to get into that relationship with, the person that I want to marry, is somebody who can satisfy me sexually? So I have to test it. I have to try it. Because if you want to buy a car, you have to try the car and see. And I'm saying car doesn't have feelings. Car, okay? A car doesn't have emotions. A car doesn't have a heart. But a woman has a heart. A man has a heart. A woman has feelings. A man has feelings. So sex is bigger than trying a car. How can you compare a human being to a car? You cannot compare a woman to a car. Even a car, if you want to buy a car, my dear, you have to buy the car. You have to pay for it before you take that car to your house. You cannot just say that, oh, I saw this car and I like it, so I'm taking the car to my house. Okay? You get it. You have to pay for it. Even a car. And human being, we are bigger than cars. So I want you to know that take your time. You are going to live with this person for the rest of your life. For 50 years, for 40 years, for 30 years. Why are you rushing? It means that you have an agenda. It means that you have an agenda. Your destination or your mindset is not about the overall well-being or success of the other person. It means that you are self-centered. You just want to satisfy your feelings. You want to satisfy your sexual desires. And if you cannot control yourself right now, my dear, you cannot control yourself when you get married. Because there are a lot of pressures in the institution of marriage. A lot of things will come against you. So if you don't have self-control when you are dating, then there is no way that you can stand when you start going through the vicissitudes of life, when you start going through the storms of life. You go out there. And you see, women, there is something that we need to understand. If you create certain appetite in a man, that appetite will come back to hurt you. That appetite will come back, okay, to destroy you. For example, if you sleep with a man, when you are not married, you sneak, okay? You find a way to go and have sex somewhere. You know that it is illegal. So you find a way to do it. So you have created an appetite, sneaking around to have sex. So when you get married, that man will not have the opportunity to sneak around again. So whatever that he started with you, he has to find another man and say that I don't love my wife anymore, because that appetite that you created in him, that lustful desire that you created in him is still there, and it needs something to satisfy it because you created that appetite. But when you met that guy, if you have told him that, my dear, I have principles and values. My values, one of them is not to have sex until we are married. I want us to talk about things, our backgrounds, where you come from, how you were trained, what you believe in, your purposes in life, your passion, your spirituality. I want to know your mental capacity. I just want to learn more things about you. I want to know who you are. I want to know how you think. Because remember that when you are marrying someone, you are marrying the person's mind, the person's heart, and the person's mind. So you must find out what is in his mind. And you can only find out because the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It's through conversation. It's through communication. So when you keep on talking, asking questions, because you need to ask questions. You need to ask where he or she was trained, who brought him or her up, the environment that he or she grew up. You have to find out, okay, some of his or her experiences, his or her traumatic experiences, the way people have been treated him or her, what he has gone through, his or her mistakes. You need to find out, because those things will influence the person's behavior, will influence the person's attitude, his perspective about life, his perspective about divorce, his perspective about abortion, his perspective about children, his perspective about motherhood, parenting. Ask questions. Where you will stay, about property. Are we going to do it together? Or you are the kind of, your model of marriage. Everybody has this kind of model in his or her mind. You must dig deep to find it out. But when you start having sex, the sex won't blind you. You become emotionally attached to the person. So anytime you remember him or her, all that you think about is the sex. Because the last time what you did was so nice that you want it again. So you not even have the time, the opportunity to get to know each other better. And my dear, as I said, if you don't have self-control when you are dating, there is no way that you can stand when you get married to that person. So my dear, as I said, human beings, we have emotions. we have feelings, we have a heart. And if you sleep with somebody and that relationship doesn't work, my dear, it's something that can hurt that person. And you see, we are in this life to help each other, to build each other up. That is why you don't have to be selfish. You know, there are some men, all that they want is to satisfy their sexual satisfaction, or satisfy their sexual ego. And that is all. But you need to think that if you have sex with a woman, you are having sex with a human being who has emotions and feelings. And one day, if you reject that lady, it's going to cost her something. So, my dear, let's all think twice and let's think ahead. If you are in for the long haul, if you are in that we are going to be in this for a very long time, then, my dear, you will consider me. You will not think about your own selfish desire, because as I said, we are going to be in this together. So let's get to know each other better. Let's be on the same page. Let's settle certain things. Let's talk about things. Let's talk about your parents, my parents. Okay, let's talk about all these things, your siblings. There are a lot of issues that erupts or comes up when we enter into marriage, or because we didn't talk about it. So it's important and critical that you don't create an appetite that will come back to hurt you or to destroy you, or you don't focus on the wrong things. Because if you are for me and I am yours, then there is no way for us to rush. We have to wait and allow God to lead, and allow God to mentor us, and allow God to lead in the dating relationship, so that God will be the center of the relationship. And during the marriage, He will continue to be the center of the relationship. So don't allow your emotions to blind you. Face reality, because life, when it comes to marriage, is about two people, two destinies coming together. So it is bigger than sex. It is bigger than you. Generations and generations after you, they're going to benefit from what you are doing right now. So make good choices, because it is not only about you. It is not only about your selfish desire. It is about two destinies coming together to fulfill the purposes of God concerning our lives. So let's think ahead, okay? Let's do the right thing, because at the end of the day, when we do it right and we enter into the institution of marriage, although it will not solve every problem, it will also be a good foundation for us to build the marriage on, because Christ is the solid rock on which we built that marriage.